it's low. It's usually below 20 degrees.
Okay, so it's in the text, right? Okay. Next question. What is the difference between a meteorological drought and an agricultural drought? Two different things. We say drought a lot. It can mean many different things. So what is the difference between these two types of droughts? Hint, page 70. Page 70. Sam?
Yeah, it looks like the agricultural is probably the worst one to have because it directly affects food production, whereas meteorological, it's just a consequence of being on the planet essentially.
All right, let's try to get a bit more scientific definition.
Okay.
But I think I get the essence of what you're saying, right? But page 70 is where you got your information from, or somewhere else?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to give it.
I understand, absolutely.
The basic nug answer.
But the answers are there for you. All right. Again, examples of questions on the quiz of the upcoming test, right? All right, true or false? First one, true or false? KBDI is used to measure the risk of earthquakes. True or false?
False, sir.
All right, here's a hint. There's the word drought in there. That might give it away, right? So not earthquakes. All right, next. A hurricane severity is measured on a scale of 1 to 6. True or false?
True. No, false. It's 1 to 5. 1 to 5.
All right. Okay. All right. I think, okay. Got that. So it's false. All right. Extreme heat causes more deaths per year than any other natural hazard in the United States of America. True or false?
True.
True. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. So that's an example of some of the questions that you'll get. No, not too difficult, but of course, it does entail you either reading it or rereading it during the time of the quiz. It is open book, and you'll have lots of time to look for it. So I'm encouraging you to find the answer, not necessarily just quizzing you on what you remember. That doesn't really help me or society, okay? So I want you to find the answers. Okay, so now we're moving on to module 2 and 3. The topics were critical infrastructure protection and human-made hazards. I know many of you are more interested in the human-made hazards and the terrorism aspects. So the readings cover more of that. And then moving on to module 3, I was talking about the levers of government, right? What does emergency management look like, federal, state, and local level? Beginning with federal level, with the Department of Homeland Security and other risk management agencies. The readings, again, chapter 5 and 6, and then chapters 2, 3, and 4, I believe, in the Pesh, Cronin, and Marion. All right. Both are available free of, not free, as you do pay tuition, but it is available to you through the library. Also chapter 5. Okay, these are very easy reads. Those chapters are pretty short, but they do cover a lot of what you need to know, the backgrounds for the policies, kind of shape how the nation prepares and responds to disasters. All right, your discussion, all right, your next discussion will be on critical infrastructure. So you will be profiling a state of your choice. Okay, you'll look at the American Society of Civil Engineering report card on infrastructure within that state, and really profile, I believe, 4 sectors of their critical infrastructure. You know, what are their current conditions, what are their challenges, how do they meet their needs, right? And having an in-depth discussion with your classmates on that, some of the challenges we face in the United States, critical infrastructure. And we do have that major infrastructure bill that was recently passed to fund a lot of projects. So try to incorporate that if you can into your responses, but looking forward to seeing conversations around critical infrastructure. Now, moving forward, your training certificate will focus on human-made hazards and specifically mass casualty incidents. I think a couple of you have already completed this one. And your white paper topic, again, as I mentioned, is now open for you to submit. It is not due until September 18th. So you do have lots of time to really think about what you want to work on. And the one thing that I'm adamant about is it has to relate to the course, right? So it has to have some aspect of hazard mitigation, risk assessment. It could be emergency management preparedness of some sort, or critical infrastructure protection specifically, right? So it must connect in some way. It could be of any sector that's of interest to you. Maybe it's the financial sector, transportation, whatever the case may be, but it must connect to the purpose of the course, right? So you want to incorporate science, research findings, and current practices, really connecting the two and being able to analyze them, synthesize them. One of the suggestions I give is to look at one of the 16 critical infrastructure sectors or the sector-specific agencies responsible for risk assessment within that sector. There's a link there within the module that you can click on and maybe look at some of the sectors that might be interesting to you, or you might want to look at a specific form of mitigation, specific to a specific hazard in a specific location or region. Sky's the limit, all right? Sky's the limit. Again, focus on what interests you, not me, but do connect it to the class, all right? You can try to connect it maybe to your future career goals as well. This could also be a writing sample that you use in your field or, as a potential job prospect. Okay, so simply just provide a title and a couple of sentences describing what you intend on doing. Okay, so I found it helpful that students like to see some examples of this, so I could show you some examples if that would be helpful. And if you could, let's just talk about each example. Some of these I've received from students. So let's see if we could say whether this is a good topic or it can improve, or how we can improve it, right? So this would give us a good idea of what you should be submitting, okay? So first example, I would like to do a white paper on the risk in cybersecurity. Would you consider this a good topic or something that could be improved? And if so, how? And feel free to go ahead, unmute yourself. Or Kelly, raise your hand. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it's a little broad. I mean, you would want to focus in a little bit more, or you're not gonna be able to speak specifically into anything.
Right, exactly. Especially with the length of the paper. Now, if this was a dissertation, right, or an edited volume of some sort, or a 400-page book, maybe you could cover all aspects, right? But for the purpose of this assignment, the narrower and more focused you can be, the stronger the paper, the more valuable the information, right? Omar?
I was going to say, I agree with Kelly. It's kind of broad. If they had narrowed it down to say they did a risk of phishing in cybersecurity, something like that, then that would have been a little bit better. Or just made it into a one category thing.
Yes, I know. So one student I know that was interested in this decided to look specifically at the energy sector within Texas, right? So they narrow it down further and further, right? Very good. Okay, next example.
I got a message from April that she's trying to get back into the Zoom, but she can't seem to get in. Does it say she's waiting?
No.
Okay, I'll just let her know because she said she can't seem to get in.
I also, in my last class that was at 5 o'clock, I had the same issue, and it ended up issue with Canvas. So it kept my professor wouldn't let me in and was kicking me out, but it's an IT issue that's going on. So there may be some students who are going to be experiencing that. Sorry. I just wanted to add that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mohammed.
Yeah, could you elaborate a bit on the examples? Can you show? Do you have like a paper that I can see or we can see?
Yeah. Yes. So
How narrow can we go, or how wider can we go? What kind of risks that we are what are we assessing specifically?
that's exactly what we're discussing right now, right?
Yeah, I know. Just that,
But they are examples. So in module 3, if you have a chance, go into module 3 right now. You'll see that there's a video description of the exercise of how to do the white paper assignment. And within that video exercise page, beneath it, there are examples of white papers from different industries that you could kind of get a sense of stylistically how to lay it out, or how to delve into different aspects, right? However, the syllabus does provide the basics, right? These are the things that you must have, right? Beyond that is good, right? But these are the basics that you must have. Executive summary, a section on the state of practice, state of science, analysis conclusions, right? Title page. These are the basic aspects of it. Now, as far as how narrow you want to go, the narrower the better, right? You can talk about hazard mitigation on your in your HOA, right? Within your neighborhood, right? You can go as narrow as that. You can go as wide as possible, but it must connect to the class, right? And I will give you feedback on whatever you submit. So I wanted to go through some examples here from past students of good and some that could be improved, to kind of give you a sense. Now, again, I want you to research something that you're interested in or that's connected to your career goals. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
One last question. Do we have to, the topics that the varieties of the topics that we stick, natural disasters, or we can go into the security aspect of things?
Yes, absolutely. So we do all hazards. So if you want to look at human-made hazards, technological hazards, it's up to you. If you want to look at natural hazards as well. Okay? Absolutely.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so this second example, focus on the importance of response and training with regards to human trafficking, right? So what do y'all think? Do you think this is a good topic or needs more improvement? I would say it's a pretty good topic. Pretty, you know what I'm saying? As far as not many people have also looked at this, right? This is a unique, interesting, it will be well received. People will want to know more about it. It's very specific. So I would say this is an example of a good topic. Let's try the next one. Hurricane preparedness, planning for an active year. Good or can improve? And if so, how? Hurricane preparedness, planning for an active year.
Sir, I would say that it's a good topic, but I'd suggest narrowing it down to a specific state or region, some type of community.
Absolutely. And again, the narrower you could get, the better the information is going to be, right? Absolutely. Okay. All right. For my white paper, I would like to research what prevention, mitigation, preparedness strategies are used in coastal regions within Virginia. Okay. All right. Is this a good topic or can improve? Omar.
Paul, just reading, I feel like it is a good topic, but I would say pick a specific area in Virginia, because there are a lot of coastal areas in Virginia, and if you just say you want to go up and down the coast of Virginia, that's way too much.
Exactly. So again, one community may be doing things completely different. Now, of course, you could do a comparative study of some sort, right? But if you want to focus on one specific town, like what is Virginia Beach doing, right? That's valuable information, right? What are they doing and what are they not doing, right? What is the research and science telling us that is available versus what are they currently doing in practice, right? And how can the two connect, right? So next one, I can't see it myself here. Okay, mitigating emergency crises and the advantages and disadvantages of social media before, during, and post a natural disaster. Okay, what do y'all think? Good or can improve? Luis.
So I feel like reading this, it's not bad, but like the first part, I'm a little confused because it kind of goes in one direction, while the other one, I would say it's like two different things to research. And like if you were to cut out the first part and just keep it like going to research the advantages, disadvantages of social media before, during, and post a natural disaster, or maybe include like how social media can play a role in this, I think that'd be a pretty solid research topic in my opinion.
Very good. How else can it improve? Anyone else? How else can it improve? I think we all agree it's too broad or not well defined. Omar.
I mean, I agree with Luis about how this is worded, but also if you're talking about social media, are you using certain websites, like certain social media outlets, or you compare and contrast them, or you just say, hey, they're all doing the same thing, or we're all gonna lump them together as one thing?
Absolutely. CD?
Yes, I think it can be like nailed down to the specific hazard instead of the general or natural disaster. So, yeah.
Even better, right? So, a couple ways to narrow it down. The hazard, right? What is the specific hazard you're looking at? Another way to narrow it down is the disaster phase, right? Maybe don't look at all the phases of this disaster cycle. Maybe just look at how it's used in response, so recovery, preparedness, right? And then again, location, another way to narrow it down, right? So narrowing it down, and then also who is using the social media? Is this specifically from the public sector perspective? Are you looking at it from a household perspective, right? There's many different ways to narrow it down. And again, the more narrow, the better. See, we have something in it. Okay, good topic. Okay, I see that. All right. Okay, so we'll go over white paper topic again next time we meet. If you want to talk about it a bit more, you still have a lot more time to do so, but I did want you to get sort of started on it. And it is there for those of you who are moving a bit faster and would like to keep moving faster. You can move forward with that. Okay, so let us move forward. Next. Okay, again, the instructions are available for you on Canvas and in your syllabus. This is the main criteria. It's only 10 pages, not very long, but you want to have in-depth content in there, right? Again, executive summary, cover page, of course, executive summary. The main part is broken into two sections: data science, data practice. Put them together, analysis, conclusions, provide your recommendations, any solutions, cite your sources, okay? Very important, cite your sources. We all have opinions. This is not an opinion-based class, right? We want to be bringing in research findings, okay? All right, and then the grading rubric, this is what we're looking for. This is what exemplary looks like, right? So take a look at that, okay? Again, you have still some time to submit just your topic and a couple of sentences. And then module 4, look at more state level emergency management, local emergency management, and also tribal emergency management, okay? And then your certificate will focus on emergency management and tribal governments, and then your discussion will also be around tribal nations and emergency management, okay? There'll be an extra credit opportunity again for you. This one will focus on public-private partnerships. And that will open, this will open in module 4. Okay. And exam 1 will open right after that. It will be conducted on Canvas. I will discuss this again more the next live session. but just a heads up. Okay, so it will be on Canvas. You're expected to work alone. Do not share your answers with your classmates. I will give you one opportunity to redo the exam, and you can keep your highest score. And then the correct scores will be only available after everyone has completed it. Okay? So about the format, content, everything from module 0 to 4 will be eligible to appear on the exam. Focus heavily on the reading, as I gave you examples, at the beginning of the class, right? These are some of the questions that you could expect. They're going to come directly from the text. So there's no point in me tricking you of any sort. There's no benefit in that. So really pay attention to the review questions and the key terminology. The exams are worth 150 points, 20 true or false, 20 multiple choice, and then also I do for 10 matching terms or short answers, depending on how I feel that day. But usually this is the format and how it breaks down. Okay, so any questions about the exam, content, format? And again, we could discuss again at the next live session if needed. Feel free to raise your hand or mute yourself if you have any questions. All right, once you begin the exam, you'll have a 3-hour window to complete it. In general, it takes about 45 minutes, but if you need to look things up, I give you extra time to do so. So I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for you to get a good grade. I usually open a window for you to take the exam for about a week. So you have a week to go in and take the exam. You can take it more than once and keep your highest score. Okay, all right. We did examples already, but let's do a couple more. The private sector owns less than 80% of the nation's critical infrastructure. True or false? The private sector owns less than 80%.
That's false.
That's false. So what's the truth?
They own a lot of it.
Just the opposite.
Most of it. Most of it.
Exactly. Right. Most of it. All right. I think it's 80 to 85% at least. Right. Critical infrastructure can be divided into Tier 1 and Tier 2 facilities. Tier 1 facilities are less critical than Tier 2. True or false? I believe that's in Chapter 1 of the Pesh-Cronin book, Marion book. Right. Again, that's the opposite. Much of the flood mapping in the United States is carried out under this program administered by FEMA. If you live in a flood zone, you may be more aware of this, but the flood mapping in the United States is carried out under this program administered by FEMA.
National Flood Insurance Program?
Yes, correct. Also known as the NFIP, right? I provided a short video presentation in Module 3 specifically about disaster insurance. For those of you interested in that, take a look at that. Okay, geological hazards include which of the following?
Earthquake.
So we can't have emergency management professionals not knowing what's a blizzard, a severe blizzard, what's a geological hazard. We have to know these. We have to know these things. So geological hazards. A, B, or C.
Earthquake.
Earthquake.
All right. Again, it's not difficult. It's not a trick. If you read the text, prepare, it should be fine. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's move on here next. Okay, so today we've had a lot of readings. A lot of it has been, like you said, remembering a lot of stuff or relearning, or some of us, learning for the first time, a lot of concepts and terminologies. Today, I just want to talk about a couple that will lead into some of your research interests, right? One is community. We talk about that a lot. We throw out that term a lot. And then also the text discuss mitigation and adaptation. So we'll spend a brief time looking at that. Okay. What time is it? All right. I'd like to do a quick picture exercise. All right. So I'm going to flash some pictures And I would like you to, you could raise your hand or unmute yourself, and just tell me some of the things that come to mind when you see the picture. First of all, do you recognize where it is or what it is, and what comes to mind when you see it? Okay. April.
That is Phantom of the Opera.
That is Phantom of the Opera. Okay, and why did you know that?
Because that's the Phantom with his mask.
All right. And have you been to the play?
Yes, I have. Numerous times.
There we go. So the truth, we're getting to know more now. Okay. So.
Yes, I love opera and live. I love opera, all the live theater, the visual arts. So.
Okay. Very good. Now, does anybody not like opera in here? Just curious. No one wants to offend. Oh, Kylie, how dare you?
I just can't sit through it. Can't sit through it.
All right, you can't sit through it. Whoa, interesting words. Okay, so one thing I did want to talk about is behavior, right? So when you're at the opera, you have a different behavior than when you say you're at a different venue, right? So that's part of this place that you're at, right? This opera. So you have to modify your behavior. Let's see, okay? What about this place here? What is it? Where Omar? Is this from before or no?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's from before. I was going to say I've never been to musicals. I've never been to operas, but I've been to musicals, which honestly I like those, but.
Very similar.
Yeah.
I mean, I might be saying blasphemy. But yeah, so now, where are we now? Where is this place that we are in the picture?
Catholic Church.
Catholic Church.
Like the Sistine Chapel.
Something about it made you think specifically Catholic Church, right? You might have had experience being in a Catholic church. I went to Catholic school, for many years, right? So one of the things you know is that at the Catholic Church, there's certain times where you stand up, right? You have to sit down, line up, right? So there's a certain behavior that you have to do at this location, right? It also connects to maybe your family's culture, tradition, heritage, right? Okay, let's move on. All right, what about this picture?
Pentagon.
Okay, and what do you think about? What are your feelings about, if you have any, about the Pentagon?
It's a great place to work if you've been there before, with all the inner rings. Okay. It symbolizes American freedom, homeland security, emergency preparedness, and the Department of Defense for the various military units.
So then it's a highly valuable place, let's
Very.
say, in this field.
Very.
Right? Very. Okay. Now, of course, if you're not in this field, you may have a different perspective, right? Omar.
I agree, but I'm going to say, for me, the way I feel about